Texas-sized endorsement.
And I believe the Texas candidate, who's Ken Paxton, I think he'll win.
I think it creates a slight bit of momentum, don't you?
Senator John Cornyn isn't backing away.
We still have a very good chance of winning in the race.
The 14-month-long slugfest between two GOP Texas titans comes down to the final moment, the runoff election. Good morning, I'm Jack Fink, and welcome to Eye on Politics. The president's 11th hour endorsement of Attorney General Ken Paxton over Senator John Cornyn reverberated around the Lone Star State and in Washington. It shocked Republican senators and excited MAGA voters in Texas. It also came as a big blow to Cornyn and gave Paxton a major boost. Supporters of Ken Paxton's run for Senate were doing the Trump dance after the president announced he was backing the Attorney General over four-term incumbent Senator John Cornyn in the contentious GOP primary runoff. Moments later, Paxton thanked the president at a previously scheduled rally in Allen.
And I'll tell you what, I'm so honored to have President Trump's endorsement. His endorsement, in my opinion, is the most significant endorsement in my lifetime. So when he endorses, it has a tremendous impact, and I think it creates a slight bit of momentum, don't you?
In a statement on his Truth Social platform, President Trump said, quote, "I know Ken well, have seen him tested at the highest and most difficult levels, and he is a winner. Ken is a strong supporter of terminating the filibuster and, very importantly, the Save America Act. Ken is a true MAGA warrior who has always delivered for Texas and will continue to do so in the United States Senate." The president continued, quote, "John Cornyn is a good man, and I worked well with him, but he was not supportive of me when times were tough." Senator Cornyn was asked why he is staying in the runoff.
Because only Texans get to vote. And we've had 2 days of early voting. It looks very encouraging. And I believe that we still have a very good chance of winning in the race.
The president discussed his endorsement with reporters.
We have a great candidate, I believe, in Texas. And I believe the Texas candidate, who's Ken Paxton, I think he'll win. I think probably he'll win very substantially. And I think he'll go on to defeat a very defective candidate.
Paxton supporters, including State Representative Carissa Richardson of McKinney, believe the president made the right decision.
And to get Trump's endorsement today was just so exciting. We're very thrilled.
Do you think because of this endorsement now that Paxton's going to run away with it?
I felt like Paxton was going to win anyway, but the endorsement certainly will help him win.
I am so excited, and it's really cool that he did it while we were here at this event so we could all celebrate together.
Ad Impact Politics says this primary runoff is the most expensive in history, a total of $25 million in campaign ad spending and reservations. Most of it, $19.9 million, is by and on behalf of Cornyn, while $5.1 million is by and on behalf of Paxton. Paxton accepted a request by Texas GOP Chairman Abraham George that both he and Cornyn drop their negative ads against each other. A PAC supporting Paxton then released an ad against Democratic Senate nominee James Tallarico, calling him Low T Tallarico. But in a post on X, Cornyn said, "We are going to continue to tell the truth about Paxton. He's escaped accountability for too long. Judgment Day is coming." As for Tallarico, he didn't want to answer questions about the Trump endorsement on Wednesday while in Dallas, but he did talk about his chances now of winning the race in November.
I think that we are going to win this race. I feel it in my bones that we are going to flip this Senate seat. We're going to take back Texas, and we're going to take back our nation.
I went one-on-one with Republican pollster Ross Hunt, principal of Hunt Research in Dallas. I asked him if the president's endorsement guarantees Paxton a win or if Cornyn has any chance of coming out on top like he did during the March 3rd primary.
Nothing is ever certain in politics, Jack, particularly not in runoff elections. But I think there's no question that the president's somewhat surprising endorsement of Attorney General Paxton at this late hour comes just early enough to make a huge positive difference for in favor of Attorney General Paxton in the runoff. I think that, to my mind, Attorney General Paxton was already the favorite going into early voting, just because of the traditional dynamics of the runoff electorate. It skews more ideologically conservative. But I think wouldn't say that the president's endorsement clinches it, but I do think that it makes Paxton the strong favorite to win this election.
Under what scenario do you think that Senator Cornyn can pull out a victory? And if he does, is that an upset?
If he pulls out a victory, it is absolutely an upset, and it is still certainly possible. An analysis I did yesterday evening of early voting turnout in the runoff election statewide through the first 2 days of early voting, Monday and Tuesday of this week, I found that areas that had supported Senator Cornyn were turning out at or slightly above where they were in the March primary. And so if you look at the turnout patterns across the state of early voting in the runoff relative to the primary, and you look at the counties where Cornyn did well and the counties where Paxton did well, Cornyn is doing just about as he was before, as well as he was before, maybe a little bit better. He would need to see his areas of support in certain urban counties, in Travis County, possibly in South Texas, surge considerably in order for him to win Paxton and defeat Paxton. And in order to do that, to defeat Paxton, he would also have to win over a lot of Hunt voters who are coming out to vote again, having their nominee having failed in the first round.
Do you think that if Paxton does become the nominee, that he is going to put the Senate seat at risk?
I think that that's possible. Before we go there, I want to take just one step back, though, and I would say that even regardless of who wins the runoff election for Senate, I think that the U.S. Senate seat is in play and that the state is in play because we just saw such a huge surge of Democratic turnout in the primary.
I also went one-on-one with Democrat Matt Engel, founder and director of the Lone Star Project, a Democratic PAC. He believes Paxton will win the runoff and that it will be easier for Tallarico to win in November.
Well, I think that's right, but everything's relative. It's still hard. Winning a statewide race in Texas for Democrats is a knife fight uphill every day. But there's no question, though, that James Tallarico has a chance to win this seat and to really bring responsible leadership to Texas. And it's been clear from what Republicans have said that Paxton is a problem. I mean, for goodness sake, Matt Shaheen said that he was unfit for office, that he was Democrats' best hope for turning Texas blue. And Jeff Leach called him out for cutting a sweetheart deal with a sex abuser. And so they're going to have to either eat those words or somehow rationalize them, because they can't suddenly change what are facts just because Donald Trump gave Ken Paxton a pat on the head.
And so as far as the Tallarico campaign, do you think that they are going to continue to use what Senator Cornyn and the other Republicans that you mentioned and use that and go on the attack against Paxton once this race gets going? And
well, I wouldn't call it an attack if you're using what Republicans said about Ken Paxton to inform the Texas public. That's not an attack. And that's just laying out facts. And again, I think it puts the Republicans in a box, because they've got to either stand by the words and stand by the fact that they have condemned Ken Paxton as an albatross around the Republicans' neck and unfit for office, or they've got to somehow say that they weren't telling the truth during the primary.
You know, Republicans are going to come right back at Tallarico for some of his comments.
Nobody has any illusions. The Republicans will throw everything in the book at James Tallarico. They're going to call him everything but a child of God. The problem they're going to have is that most of what they're going to say, probably all of what they're going to say, is untrue, whereas the indictment of Ken Paxton is laid out chapter and verse, and a lot of it's been laid out by his Republican colleagues.